Hello, my name is Matt, and I study fish communities on coral reefs using sound. This was our project for the WILDLABS 2024 award, FinDrop, which is about filling a gap in acoustic conservation monitoring. And so the idea started with my PhD focus on deep reefs, also known as mesophotic reefs, which can't be monitored through conventional survey methods, while one of the most biodiverse places on our planet. Um, One of the most effective ways we study these ecosystems is through sound. Reefs aren't silent, as a majority of fish and other organisms produce distinct acoustic signals, yet till recently, most of the focus has been on whales and dolphins. Um, and so, for example, you can hear hundreds of sounds a minute just from these little fish called damselfish on the reef. And so here you'll see an example of the power of sound and the behavior recorded of a damselfish. And so by recording these soundscapes, we can monitor biodiversity and behavior over time without needing to be physically present. But the technology to do so is expensive and, well, sometimes requires a submarine. So a different problem that I'm happy to discuss later on another day is how do we get rid of the submarine? Um, but at the low end of this gap is devices like the Hydromoth, which are extremely accessible, but their audio is inconsistent and they aren't designed for deep deployments. On the other end, you have sound traps, which produce fairly good data, but they are around $4,500 a piece and mainly not accessible for a lot of these conservation projects. And so there's a clear gap that I think FinDrop addresses, which is that there's no affordable and reliable solution for deep reefs. And so to fill that gap, here's the prototype version of FinDrop and currently beta version. But we developed a new acoustic recording system using capacitance-based arrays of MEMS microphones versus the traditional piezoelectric element. So the design reduces cost while producing a more consistent and accurate representation of the reef soundscape. And we successfully so far tested it to 200 meters, which opens up deeper reef monitoring, or even just simply a denser array network for your conservation project in shallow waters. So getting the system to work wasn't exactly straightforward, and this resulted in a number of prototypes. This was the first prototype I made 2 years ago in an aluminum can and a little homemade battery pack. I then went on to test hundreds and I think hundreds of different MEMS designs and communication protocols with the prototype PCB we were working with. And a lot of prototypes got really crazy and weird, and they just didn't work. So when we were out in Curacao, you don't have options for like a hardware store or things like that. And so you're left to limited devices like this. We needed some mineral oil. So all we could find was this Princess baby oil to submerge our MEMS into. Little to say, it wasn't very successful. And a lot of the prototyping kind of took unique innovations while out in the field. So like ripped up pizza boxes and electrical tape and zip ties. I think we're all familiar. Um, but the result of the system is that it produced a much clearer and more consistent signal compared to the lower cost devices. You can see Hydromoth on the left and the FinDrop on the right. And I think it should play. So you should be hearing a dolphin in the background, the damselfish croaking, and just the sound of a coral reef. And so by lowering the cost and increasing the accessibility, the system made it possible to start scaling acoustic monitoring across mesophotic reefs. And so in Curacao, we're deploying a dense network of about 30 of them over a 2 kilometer stretch. And so the power of going from 6 to 30 recorders allows long-term data on fish communities, improved understanding of reef ecosystems, and more improved conservation strategies. So in short, it's a tool that opens up research possibilities that weren't previously out of reach, both in deep reefs, but also any aquatic environment wanting to do biodiversity monitoring and conservation. And so, as such, about 15 of these devices are deployed or being deployed around the world with select pilot partners. And we're continuously formulating them. So to make FinDrop more accessible. But later this year, we hope to have a commercial product. And so this is for a number of different animals and organisms, not just fish. And so I'd like to thank the partners, obviously. And if you want more information than what I could provide in the speed talk, I do have a GitHub, and you're welcome to check that out. So thank you.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks for making such an interactive and interesting presentation. And yeah, all the audio worked really well, and it was nice to hear some dolphins. Yeah, it's really great to see a project looking to make, deep marine like bioacoustics more affordable, because as you say, there aren't too many conservation programs who can afford submarines. And I think following your project also really opened my eyes to some of the challenges, shall we say, that salt water and extreme pressure can impose on tech. So yeah, it's been really great to see kind of the approach approved throughout the project. And it's really exciting that you plan to launch it as a commercial product soon as well. Do we have any questions for Matthew? Okay, I have a very quick question. So once you do launch it as a commercial product, where will it be available, and what comes next? Like, what are the kind of long-term plans for FinDrop?
Yeah, totally. So FinDrop will be available on Fisheye Collaborative's website. It'll just be like a Shopify account, and you can click and purchase however many you want. Currently, we're working with a number of projects using that just want to put it into a budget for their proposals, which is a great avenue if you want to have a competitive edge over other projects that might have more expensive hydrophones. But yeah. Well, thank you, Henry, for having me. It was great giving a talk. So
It's a pleasure. And please, yeah, any more questions for Matthew, please write them in the chat, or yeah, I'm sure you can reach out to us for his email and we can help set up some communication there. Thank you so much.